Okay, ladies and gentlemen, recess is over. Okay. Always love that sound, you know, die, die. And they say movies and television don't work your mind. Okay, we have one of our special features tonight. Someone who is amongst the top 5 multimedia people I know about. The other one is Nicole. So please, join with me in welcoming and prepare yourself to enjoy the words, the pictures, the multimedia sound of Janet Kuypers.
Thank you. Okay, let's just see if you put this over again. Hi. After saving money, I quit my job and took a year off to travel around the country by car. My roommate, Eugene, went with me on this trip. These are some accounts of my seeing new people, new places, and going through new experiences. Before we left Chicago, I prepared food for the trip, and Eugene didn't. He'll probably stop at every Taco John's he can find. I don't know what it is with Eugene and Taco John's fast food. He loves it like you wouldn't believe. I mean, yeah, the food is fine, but it's a bean burrito. After we drove through Iowa's flatlands for 4 hours, we went to Nebraska, where we saw my friend Doug in Omaha. He told us that people from Omaha referred to their town as the Big O. Now, when I hear the Big O, I don't think Omaha. We were talking one day. Eugene said that he wanted human cloning so that they could make a clone of him one day, but with no brain. I immediately said, oh, that's a bit redundant. Doug burst into hysterics, but Eugene said that he wanted one day to be able to take his brain out of his old decrepit body when he was like 80 and place it into a young, brainless clone body. Doug was frightened by the concept of creating a brainless human being, but I thought Americans had been doing that for years by merely procreating. But heading west, we went to an original Pony Express station, and then we stopped at a sod house museum. I saw a sign for Buffalo Bill's ranch. Eugene told me that he hated Buffalo Bill because he slaughtered all of the buffalo. Did I mention that we were vegetarians? Can you imagine tons of buffalo running along here? He asked. Barum, barum, barum. That's apparently the noise that they would make while they were thundering toward you. Tens of thousands of them. That would be so cool. Sure, Eugene. Speaking of animals, though, I saw a llama. Honestly, I saw a llama walking along the side of the expressway. I don't believe it. You keep going into Boulder, Colorado. Boulder is located at the base of the Rocky Mountains. And I also noticed that no one seems to be fat in Boulder. People in Boulder also smoke a lot less, too. Like an example, if bars aren't non-smoking bars, they have a non-smoking section. We went hiking in the mountains. We kept climbing out onto rocks that were right at the edge of the mountainside, and I thought of my friend Joe when we had hiked up a mountain to a metal power line tower in Pasadena, California. Joe climbed up the tower and started walking out along one of the girders, like it was just a balance beam only 3 feet from the ground, but it dropped off a mountainside. It was risky, but Joe said, walking on this edge is just like walking on a tile seam on your kitchen floor. You are capable of doing it. It's just that your mind is telling you that you can't. I once set fire to my fingernail. I wanted my finger to be a human candle. She dropped another match into her glass. She struck another match at the side of the box. 6 or 7 lay on the cocktail napkin, 10 more at the bottom of her glass. She aroused the flame. I set my fingernail on fire, but I didn't bother blowing the fire out until I could feel the heat scorching my skin. But everyone focused on that little piece of energy she held. She was testing herself, and she was winning. After dinner in Denver, my friend Tom took us to a posh martini bar with swing music. It was nice until Eugene started to complain. We sat at a table near where their garbage can was, and periodically the bartender would throw an empty glass bottle into the trash, and it would crash loudly right next to us. Eugene argued to the bartender that this was a quiet, relaxing bar, and he said something to the effect of, "When you throw the bottles into the trash, it's very disturbing. It startled me." Then the bartender said to him, in the tone of a bully right before he stuck a kid's head into a toilet and flushed, he said, "Oh, it bothered you?" And then another bartender was overhearing me cutting, and he said, no, it startled him. So he was on the side of all the bartenders, so thanks for being such a charmer, Eugene. You made our evening. The next afternoon, we drove to the mountains. We saw some elks. They were at an elevation of about 8,000 feet. We went to Golden, a town whose name came from being a stopping point for people going to the gold rush. We found a Taco John's there, of course, but we also found the Kuypers factory. The entire place reeked of beer when we toured, but at least afterward they gave us 3 free beers. Buffalo Bill's grave was actually at the top of one of the mountains in Golden. Now, so much for the dead buffalo, Eugene. I went to the site anyway. Eugene and I went with Dave and Matt in Denver to a cheesy hole-in-the-wall called the PS Lounge and met Kristen. She bought me a shot, then some stranger bought drinks for everyone at the bar, and we drank our way to the next bar. I think it was called the Lion's Lair. We later drank beer from people who were playing strip pool at Dave's apartment. We even stayed and ended up crashing at Kristen's one night. I like Eugene's sleep. I think that's a good shot of him sleeping. But later in our trip, we went to the U.S. Mint. We visited the Capitol building. We went to visit the Molly Brown house. She was a survivor of the Titanic. And we went to the Denver Art Museum. Later, when further going west, we passed the Continental Divide, the ridge of mountains that defines the drainage of water either to the Mississippi or the Pacific Basin. We passed through Vail. We visited Glenwood Canyon, and we drove through the White River National Forest. Then I had to leave Eugene to go to the northern states for a while on my own before we decided to head south. I went through Montana with no daytime speed limit, so I went 125 miles an hour just to see what I could do. But then I whipped through Idaho because I didn't want to see anything there. I mean, what? Potatoes. So I drove through to Wyoming to see Yosemite, and the mountains there were gorgeous along the horizon. I was even dorky enough to try to take a picture of them while I was driving. At Yosemite, I saw cool trees, and Old Faithful erupted every hour and 10 minutes. Driving south, I had to stop my car because a bunch of bison were actually walking across the road right in front of me. And at another point in the road, I tried to photograph a small gold fox that started darting away from me as soon as he saw me, so I couldn't get a photo. So, llamas, elk, foxes, and bison. I wonder what other animals I could see along here if I don't get in nature's way. I had a dream the other night. I walked to a forest, and there were neatly paved bicycle paths and trash cans every 50 feet and trash every 10. And then I saw a raccoon with a few little baby raccoons following her. It was so cute. I wish I had my camera. And she spoke to me. She said, "Thank you for not buying furs. I know you humans are pretty smart. You have to be able to figure out a way to keep yourselves warm without killing me." And I said, "You know they don't do it for warmth. They do it for fashion. They do it for power." And she said, "I know. But thank you anyway." Then I walked a little further, and there I saw a stray cat. She still had her little neon collar on, and she walked a few feet, stretched her front paws. Oh, she looked so darling. And then she walked right up to me, and she said, "Thank you." And I said, "For what?" And then she just looked at me for a moment. Her little ears were standing straight up. And then she said, "You know, in some countries, I'm considered a delicacy." And I said, "How do you know of these things?" And she said, "When someone eats one of you, word gets around." And then she said, "In some countries, the cow is sacred. Wouldn't I love to see how you humans prepare them for slaughter, how you hang them upside down and slit their throats so their still-beating hearts will drain out of the blood for you." And I said, Don't put me in that category. I don't eat meat." And she said, "I know." And I walked deeper into the forest. I heard the crackling of fallen leaves under my step. The wind tunneled through as it flew past the bark and leaves. I walked, listened to the crack of dead branches under my feet, and I could hear the trees talk to me. And they said, "Thank you for keeping the endangered animals live here with us. We do think they are so pretty, and it would be a shame to see them go. And thank you for recycling paper because you're saving us for just a little while longer. We've been on this planet for so long, embedded in the earth. We do have souls, you know. We cling with our roots. We don't want to let go." And I said, "But I don't do much. I don't do enough." And they said, "We know, but we'll take what we can get." And I woke up in a sweat. So tell me Bob Dole, so tell me Pat Buchanan, so tell me Newt Gingrich, so tell me Jesse Helms, if you woke up from that dream, would you be in a sweat too? Do you even know why we should save the rainforest? Oh, preserve the delicate balance. What difference does it make? Just tear the whole forest down. Put in some orange groves, or a concentrate orange juice could be a little cheaper. Did you know that medical researchers have a very, very hard time trying to come up with synthetic cures for diseases on their own? It first helps them out if they can find the substance in nature, and a tree that appears in a rainforest may be the only one of its species, or one like it may be 2 miles away instead of right next to it. I wonder how many cures we've destroyed to plant more orange groves. Serves us right. You know my motives aren't selfless. I know these things are worthwhile in my life. I'd like to find a cure to these diseases before I die of them, and I'm not a vegetarian because I think it's wrong to kill an animal unless I have to. I also know that the excess protein pulls the calcium away from my bones and gives me osteoporosis, and the excess fat gives me heart attacks, and I also know that we could be feeding 10 times more people with the same resources used for meat production. You know, I know you're looking at me and calling me an extremist, but I'm sitting here, looking around me, looking at the destruction caused by family values, and thinking that the right, moral, non-violent decisions are also those extreme ones. Everything is linked here. We destroy our animals, we destroy our plants, we destroy our earth, we're even destroying our air. We wreak havoc on the soil, on the atmosphere, we dump our waste into our lakes, we pump aerosol cans and exhaust pipes. And you tell me I'm extreme. And I'm beginning to think that we just keep doing it because we don't know how to stop, and deep inside we feel the pain of all that we've killed, and we try to control it by popping a chemical-filled painkiller. We live through the guilt by taking caffeine, nicotine, morphine, and we keep ourselves thin with saccharin, and we keep ourselves sane with our alcohol poisoning. And when that's not enough, maybe a line of coke. Maybe shoot ourselves in the head in front of the mirror in the master bedroom. Or maybe take some pills, walk into the garage, turn on the car, and just fall asleep. In the wild, you have no power over anyone else. Now that we're civilized, we create our own wild. Maybe when we have all this power, the only choice we have is to destroy ourselves. And so we do. I met up with Eugene to keep going and got so excited when we got to Utah, and I think it's because when I was little, I loved the Osmonds. I was so obsessive. I mean, they were from Salt Lake City. I mean, I had the Donnie and Marie Barbie dolls, and there was a hole in Marie's hand. It was like a stigmata so that the plastic microphone could fit into her hand. It was scary. We stayed in the hotel. Hearing the song blowing my mind, hearing a little bit of country. We stayed in the hotel. Eugene opened the nightstand drawer and found not the Bible, but a Book of Mormon, fitting for Utah. I recalled an X-Files episode about government conspiracies and asked Eugene to check the Book of Mormon to see if there was a bug in it, because the government could be keeping tabs on what everyone else is doing as they're traveling. And he actually checked, just for show. We went first to Crystal Geysers, then to Arches National Park, where there were 35-foot tall rocks weighing 3,500 tons, balancing on top of 120-foot tall rock poles. The last arch we hiked up was 2 miles uphill, but before I got there, I sat down and looked around me. Near the top of the sandstone mountain range, I stopped moving and listened. There was absolutely nothing. There was no planes, no birds, no wind, no motion. I'm used to hearing trucks and souped-up cars and people yelling, but here it was perfectly silent. We camped at Canyonlands National Park. It was so amazing at night to see so many stars versus the orange glow of an overcast Chicago night sky with an occasional plane. But there were no towns around for 40 miles at least, and no clouds in the sky. Eugene noted that it's impossible to imagine 3 dimensions in space. Everything looks like it's on a flat plane. All the stars, meteors, even the airplanes circling overhead. It looks like a painting. It looks like a black canvas, a sheet with a very dim light on the other side, and someone poked tiny, tiny holes all over the sheet. In the morning, we held bread and peanuts, and birds flew into the palms of our hands, our fingers, eating food from the palms of our hands. We later passed the Monte La Salle National Forest and went to Natural Bridges National Monuments, to Glen Canyon, Zion National Park, and Bryce Canyon. Utah has no big towns in the southern half of the state, and we didn't go north towards Salt Lake City, even though that's where the Osmonds live. I've been to Las Vegas twice. The first time I was 18 and I went with my parents and my sister to see a Mickey Gilley concert. Let's not get into that. The second time I went to Vegas was as a photographer for my old employer. I stayed at the Las Vegas Hilton, not the Flamingo Hilton, not the tacky one, not the unique one, but this is a building that could be anywhere Hilton. When I went to Las Vegas for work, I went with coworkers, including one born-again Christian coworker, to dinner. The born-again Christian's brother joined us from Los Angeles for the night. I got along well with the born-again brother. We ended up talking, just talking, for the entire night, and he never made it back to his hotel where his born-again Christian brother was staying. It was a stupid point to argue about at 2 a.m., sitting in the lobby of the Las Vegas Hilton, listening to the clink and whir of slot machines and the dropping of tokens onto metal. Our beliefs in God were different, and even after drinking, I knew you wouldn't change my mind, and I had no desire to change yours. You told me of a dream you had. In it, you and Christian Slater played a game of pool. You won. He then looked at his hands and said, I've got a beer in one hand and a cigarette in the other. I guess this means it's time for me to go seduce someone. And he walked away. You're a funny man. You make me laugh. Your brother even noticed that, and you even spoke like Slater. Rough, mysterious. You were the optimist. Yes, there is meaning to life. I was doomed to meaninglessness. But to me, you were the pessimist. You believed that you were not capable of creating the power, the passion you had within you. I had control in my life. You think we are so different, but we are not. It's now after 3 a.m. and the casino plays music. Al Jarreau, Whitney Houston, Billy Ocean, Mariah Carey, Natalie Cole with her father. That's why, darling, it's incredible. You mouth as you walk toward the washroom. That's someone so unforgettable. Take a spin. Watch me mouth the words with you as you walk away. Think that I am unforgettable too. Passion is a hard thing to describe. There's a spirituality behind it. You do your work because it is you, because it is who you are. You said that spirituality was a god. I said it was my mind. Once again, we lock horns. All of my life I have seen people espouse beliefs but not follow them. Tell me you're not like them. Our values are different, but tell me that we both have values and we'll fight to the death for them. I need to know that there are other people out there like that, like me. I'm grasping at straws here as the clock says 3:45 a.m. and the betting odds for the football games roll by on the television screen. You don't gamble. Neither do I. Why must you be so far away? You reminded me that I have passion in life, that I have to keep fighting. But sometimes when I get low, I struggle. You have your God to fall back on. I only have me. You looked into my eyes as it approached the morning and you said, I see God in your eyes. I see a soul. Whether what you saw was your God or just me, my passion, well, thank you for finding it. Goodbye, Miss Kuypers, you said when you left for good that day. I said nothing. Goodbye, Mr. Williams, I thought, and then I closed the door, walked to the window, started singing Unforgettable. I was alone in my hotel room, but the lights from the Stardust, the Frontier, the Riviera were still flashing in the morning. I'm not alone. Goodbye, Mr. Williams. Las Vegas is a crazy place. Everything is extremely well lit. None of the casinos have windows, and they don't want you to know what time of day it is, because if you realize that it was dawn, you might stop gambling. They use so much power from the Hoover Dam to light so many lights and run the air conditioning. They actually cool off the air on the sidewalk right outside the front doors of the hotels and the casinos. And every time I saw the casino at the Mirage, I thought of the Beastie Boys song, Sabotage, which says, "Oh my God, it's a mirage. I'm telling y'all, it's sabotage." But by the end of the night, I think Eugene was actually enjoying himself and not bitching about how Las Vegas is robbing water from the Colorado River in order to survive in the desert, or whatever other political tirade he could get off on. We did go to the Hoover Dam. It was an amazingly beautiful feat of man. It was stunning. From above, in the air, the mountains look like little mountains you see on topographically correct globes, little ridges as if they're made of sand, as if you can just lean your head down a little bit and your exhaling could make them all blow away in the breeze. We first stopped in a small town in California whose claim to fame was that it had the world's tallest thermometer. It was 134 feet tall to mark the highest temperature Death Valley reached in the early 1900s. We were walking down Santa Monica Boulevard. We passed a young homeless man, and he asked, "Could you spare $100,000? And I thought, of course he won't get it, but of all the places in the world, this is the only place where he could get away with asking for it. We visited Beverly Hills, Hollywood, Brentwood. We saw the Hollywood sign, the La Brea tar pits, Sinatra's and Marilyn Monroe's handprints in concrete. Took a picture with Tom Jones's star. But the one thing I noticed is that among all the shops that line the streets of every neighborhood, there were quite a few pet spas. Pet spas, I thought. Pet spas. I noticed that driving along the 10 in LA was like one of the most frightening experiences known to man. Now, I'm used to driving in Chicago, and by far I'm a Type A driver, but driving at 10, however, it's more like driving in an auto race than in a traffic jam, and all the competitors, all the competition, they're all out for blood. I was in my friend's car once, and she was driving through the streets of Chicago, and she was letting people go in front of her, and she was stopping at four-way stop intersections and waving and letting other cars go in front of her. And when she is driving, she's going under the speed limit, and I'm thinking, my God, she's driving like she's twice her age, and I wanted to tell her to get going because, damn it, I don't want to die in this car. I've got a lot of living to do. I've never jumped out of an airplane or made $1 million, and if I am going to go, I sure all don't want to die of boredom while someone is sitting in the most congested lane of traffic instead of going in front of everyone else like I would most certainly do. And then it occurred to me, I really am a Type A person. I mean, yeah, I'm the one that's yelling and banging on the steering wheel of my car while people on the road are idiots. Yes, I'm the person who races to a stop sign at the next intersection like 100 feet away. And yes, I am driving a Saturn SL1, a sedan with about as much horsepower as a 1982 Ford Mustang. But damn it, I'm not going to go down without a fight. I will be the one who's cutting everyone off, weaving in and out of traffic. And even when I'm tuning the radio while I'm driving, because you see, I can do that and put on makeup and take notes for work and check out my schedule. And if I was the Hindu god Vishnu and had 10 arms, I would take a cell phone and I would send out faxes and eat dinner and write a novel while I was at it. But as I said, while I'm sitting in the car tuning the radio in my car, I only listen to the first second before I'm completely disgusted and have to change the tile just to be, instantaneously disgusted another 6 times and have to change and find a tape so that that I don't have to listen to the stupid crap that all these corporate pieces of shit think that they should play because they think that they just want to hear garbage on the radio over and over again. Even when I'm on the sidewalk, I always get stuck behind someone who is a full foot shorter than me and a full 30 pounds heavier than me, someone who labors to walk very, very slowly, someone who actually sways rhythmically when they walk, like a metronome. And as I'm going, I want to get going, and I'm stuck behind this person, almost tripping over myself. Yeah, I'm the person who's in line at the grocery store with 3 items, shifting my weight from foot to foot, frantically scanning the other lines, the person who wants to ask the person in front of them, can't I please get in front of you? I've only got 3 items and you have 2 full grocery carts full of crap like Cheetos, Pepsi, fish sticks, frozen pepperoni pizzas, and Haagen-Dazs cookie dough ice cream. I'm guessing that at my funeral, when the long procession of cars is creeping along toward the cemetery, I'll open up the casket and ask the driver of the hearse, hey, Kay, what do you say we just floor it, just blow everyone off? Because we could probably just, go and get a beer at the corner bar and still be able to get back and take everyone to the graveyard, to the gravesite. Because, as I said, I'm a type A driver, and I'm going to make sure that I do as much living as I possibly can. I'm not going down without a fight, and wherever that goddamn goal line is, I swear to God, I'll beat everyone to it. Oh, wait, I didn't tell you about my day trip to Mexico. So I decided to take a trip to Mexico City by myself. I got lost once, and men in cars kept offering to give me rides. Hey, baby, you want your own private taxi? And I had to try to avoid them. But the man who ran the hotel thought it wasn't safe for a girl to be alone, and he asked me if my parents loved me, if anyone loved me, because if anyone did, why would I be here alone? Tijuana was a dirty place. The crappy streets are really tiny. There is a stop sign or an Alta sign at every block. Men try to flag you into their auto mechanics shop. You could see a man with a camera and a donkey painted to look like a zebra waiting for you to buy a tourist photo. They even supplied a sombrero if you wanted that for the picture. The shop owners stand at the sidewalks and try to convince you to come into their stores. They desperately want American money. Beers were 2 for $1, so we got a bucket of beers at a bar, and then a waiter came up with free tequila shots for us. Eugene doesn't drink hard liquor, so I drank them both. We then met 3 people ditching work from San Diego. We drank, and they kept giving us free shots. I had at least 13 tequila shots that day. At one point, a bartender, even wearing a sombrero and blowing on a whistle, threw a napkin around my neck and poured tequila down my throat. We were dancing to the Macarena and with these people at like 4 in the afternoon, and they ended up bringing us back to their place in San Diego and giving us a place to stay for the night. So, in a nutshell, Tijuana is pretty much an alternate universe, and if you can't hold your liquor, just don't go there. Trust me. We passed the Mojave Desert when it actually rained in a heat storm that time on our way to Arizona. I remember sitting outside then, and after a few minutes something smelled, but I couldn't quite place it, and then I realized that's the smell of burning flesh. It was 122 degrees outside. But since it got cooler, we then took off for the Grand Canyon, which was pretty magnificent. And then we drove to the Sunset Crater volcano to see large deposits of black lava all over the place. We then went to the National Poetry... New Mexico. Sorry. sorry, I heard the music. Then we went to the National Poetry Slam in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I performed in a show with 5 other Chicago writers. And when you enter Texas, well, there are oil pumps everywhere in all of the fields. We went to Austin one night, and it happened to be Mardi Gras in New Orleans that same night. The streets were therefore blocked off, and police cars were everywhere. People crowded in the streets. There were people on rooftops and balconies screaming, and everyone was wearing plastic Mardi Gras beads. But after this, Eugene left. He decided to leave and go back to Chicago. And then I took the rest of the trip for myself, starting with Louisiana. You have to pass the desolation before you get there. Long, long bridges overlooking the swamps, decaying trees, occasionally a home, foundations crumbling, wet wood peeling away. The people in those homes see crocodiles, snakes, bugs under the full moon, vultures perched along the treetops. They have the isolation, the beauty of the solitude, but they see a different kind of decay in this part of New Orleans. Driving to New Orleans, I love the catacombs like Marie Laveau's grave, the above-ground cemeteries, but in the French Quarter, a business associate had a balcony on Bourbon Street that we'd hang out at. We visited there before with my friend Doug. We most recently went to New Orleans to see friends at Mardi Gras. We'll read your poem. We'll sketch your face. We'll take you for a carriage ride. We'll pipe you full of liquor. We'll make you happy. There are a lot of little shops there. Some are cheesy t-shirt shops, some art galleries, some sex shops, some 16th century antique stores. It's a town of money and debauchery. After I dried my clothes off in the windows of my car, I love travel. I went with my sister and her friend who were visiting New Orleans down toward Bourbon or Decatur Street for frozen drinks, as well as then going to Café du Monde for beignets. While I was there in New Orleans, I found out that Dave, a man I had dated for the previous year and a half, died of a heart attack, months shy of his 32nd birthday. I couldn't even get back in time for the funeral. I wonder if it's just easier to think that you didn't die, than to think that maybe you were just ignoring me. Maybe I should have gone to your funeral and seen your body. I mean, maybe I should have seen the color of your skin, seen you laying there. But I don't know if I could ever be ready to see that. If I saw you, maybe then I wouldn't expect you to come back anymore. I got one of your earrings yesterday. I wanted to have something to remember you by other than these damn memories. Now all I've got are these memories, and I'm supposed to move on. Having to move on, I went to Mississippi. I stopped by the NASA Space Center. I saw models of space shuttle engines. I also saw the history of Americans in space. Then I went to Florida. Seeing Fort Myers, Florida, the city always looks different from any other place. All the palm trees, the marshes. It's like you're going somewhere foreign, and pretty soon the big tour will begin. You can feel the heat, the humidity, sticking your shirt to your back, between your shoulder blades, and even your neck, too, before you even walk outside. I did a Chinese fire drill by myself when my car reached 100,000 miles between Tampa and Naples, where my parents lived, for me to visit. You don't think of visiting your parents like this, but after my mother had breast cancer and a radical hysterectomy, well, it changes how you think. My mother has cancer, and we decided to go across the country for a weekend to surprise her. I put it out of my mind until I actually had to fly there. The night before, I couldn't bring myself to pack. It was 2 in the morning when I finally pulled my suitcase out from the pantry shelf. I kept telling people at work, well, you see, I have to visit my mother because she has cancer, so I have to miss a few days of work. But I was always able to say it so matter-of-factly until I actually had to visit her. In fact, when my sister told me the diagnosis, it was right around Christmas time, and there was so much work to do, and I still had presents to wrap and a meal to prepare, and Christmas was supposed to be a happy time, that I managed to postpone even thinking about it until I had to pack, to decide what to take, what to leave behind, put my life into a little black box with a handle and wheels, and go. It wasn't supposed to be this way. I knew that. I knew I wasn't supposed to be visiting my mother under these circumstances, and I knew that she never wanted to think about bad things because they made her cry, and this would make her want to cry and cry because the only reason why we're there is because things are bad. But I wasn't supposed to think that way. Things would be just fine. So I finished packing at 4 in the morning, and the next thing I remember is I was on the plane with my sisters, and we got to Mom and Dad's house, and everyone was so happy to see each other. It was like one big family reunion, and we were all laughing and talking and trying to figure out where we were all going to sleep. And my sisters and Dad walked into the front room to see if the couches were good enough to sleep on, and I was alone in the den with Mom. So I suddenly became serious and sat down next to her and asked her how she was really doing. And that is when she started to cry, saying that the cancer spread. But what she was most concerned with was the fact that she didn't want to spoil the time that we came to visit her. But what I don't think she understood was that we couldn't have come at a better time, and that nothing she could do would spoil our trip. After visiting Tallahassee and seeing Lisa, I drove through Alabama, whose claim to fame, well, they don't have one, but I saw a billboard that said, "Go to church or the devil will get you." Went to see Robert Worth's house in Tennessee. Back in '93, he was so thankful that I accepted his work to CC&D magazine that he asked what he could do for me. I told him to start his own magazine and publish me. So he did. He started the magazine, The Penny Dreadful Review, thus starting Penny Dreadful Press. I've been to Memphis before, but on this trip, we went to dinner and people got yelled at for pipe smoking. And then later a ton of poets got together at his place, and one of the drunk poets pulled out his gun and shot a bullet into the wall above my head. On this trip, a man I've dated for 1.5 years died, and a gun was shot over my head. Now my trip is complete. I saw where they held the Kentucky Derby at Churchill Downs in Kentucky, but everything there had meat in it in Louisville and Shepherdsville. All I could eat there once was green beans and mashed potatoes. That is, until I tasted the green beans and realized that they had been cooked in bacon fat. Before I went home, I stopped in Bloomington, Indiana to see my friend Brian. But once I got home, well, as soon as I got back, he had been home for 1.5 months when I got back, and I found, among other things, dirty plastic cups in the kitchen cabinets, dirty aluminum cans in the kitchen cabinets, uncovered food in the refrigerator. Eugene's opened a suitcase in the living room, a small pile of tissues on the toilet paper. I'm guessing this was Eugene's excuse for toilet paper. And all I could think was that I had bought toilet paper for the 1.5 years as his roommate. He is going to buy some toilet paper tomorrow. I guess I could have mentioned that there was an empty bag of Taco John's in the refrigerator, but then it would have sounded like I was bitching. So, what did I learn from this trip of 8 months around the country? I've learned that there's a lot out there and that this country is filled with beautiful things. I've learned that life is short and the price to find that out is too high. I've also learned that you have to make a conscious effort to live and to be happy because it is too easy to let yourself fall into a slump and let life happen to you instead. Because what's the point of living life if you're just waiting for your death? Thank you. It gets very quiet.